That deep, guttural, and commanding roar wasn't just a sound. It was a force. It is the roar of legacy. My father, King Ezran, was meeting a foreign envoy in the great courtyard, and when tensions rose, he let loose that roar. It wasn't just the noise, it was what followed. The envoy's guards froze, their weapons clattering to the ground, their fear so thick you could almost taste it. The envoy were afraid. You can see the fears in their eyes. I remember thinking, if the roar could do that, what else could it do? Every visitor to Janbali who hears the roar for the first time talks about it in hushed tones, their faces pale. Some even leave, unwilling to stay in a place where one man could wield such power. For me, the fear wasn't about what the roar did to others. It was the quiet realization that one day, that roar would be mine. Janbali is unlike anywhere else. Nestled in the mountains, our town is surrounded by deep forests that seem alive. The air carries the scent of fresh leaves and damp earth. And when the wind blows through the trees, it almost feels like they're whispering secrets. Our people hold on to traditions tightly. Festivals light up our town almost every season, colourful cloths, the rhythm of drums, and the spicy aroma of food fill the air. Traders come from all over to buy our carved masks, woven baskets, and enchanted beads. Each believed to carry a hint of magic. The palace stands at the heart of it all, perched high on a rocky hill, its walls adorned with intricate carvings that tell the story of our ancestors. It's as much a fortress as it is a home, and for me, it's where I first understood the weight of legacy. I was 5 years old when I first saw the lion face to face. For 5 years, I have lived with the sound of the roar without knowing the source. I was playing outside, and my father has gone out. Intermittently, I could hear the roar echo in the surrounding forest. Suddenly, I started to hear the roar coming closer and closer. Afraid, I stood to run inside where my mother, Queen Jafer, was preparing the evening meal when I looked up. Standing at the edge of the forest was a golden lion, beautiful and majestic, looking straight at me and roaring silently. I remained frozen with fear and admiration until it started moving towards me. Immediately, strength returned to my legs, and I took off, crying and shouting for my mother. My shout brought my mother running. She engulfed me quickly. I could only point to the lion, since fear had taken my speech with it. My mother smiled, bowed to the lion before taking me inside, nestled against her breast. She told me never to be afraid of the lion. She said conversationally that roar is the roar of legacy, and one day it will be yours. It was 5 years before I understood what she meant. I was 10 years old when it happened. It started as a normal day, but by the end, my life was anything but normal. I had snuck out of the palace to join my friends by the river. We were laughing and daring each other to swim across when a wild boar crashed through the undergrowth. Something snapped inside me. My fear disappeared, replaced by something primal. My vision blurred, and I felt my body shift. My friends screamed, but not because of the boar. It was me. I wasn't myself anymore. I saw my reflection in the river. Sharp teeth, golden eyes, a mane forming around my neck. With one swipe, I sent the boar to its death, and just as quickly as it started, it was over. I was back to being me. My friends stared at me like I was a stranger. Word spread quickly, and by evening, the entire palace and village knew. I came back to the palace trembling, afraid of what happened to me and feeling very sick. From that day, I earned a level of respect from the villagers that is almost equal to that which my father commands. That night, my father took me to see the village midwife and healer. Mama Zari had always been a comforting figure. It has even been rumoured that she has the gift of sight, especially when it comes to children. That night, taking my hands, she looked at me with a mixture of pride and worry. "It's starting," she said, her voice low. "Your gift is awakening." She then gave me some herbs to chew for my fever. I did, and strength returned to my bones. She turned to my father, smiled and said, "It is time. it will not be one but three, and soon I will be joining my ancestors because my successor comes." My father smiled and nodded. I did not understand the discussion till later. My father decided we needed the seer, Babalumo. He lives deep in the forest, in a hut surrounded by strange symbols and charms. He didn't even look at me when we arrived. Instead, he stared into a fire, murmuring under his breath. Finally, he spoke.
"The roar is both a gift and a curse. If the boy doesn't learn control, it will consume him."
I didn't understand what he meant then, but the weight in my father's eyes told me more than Babalumo words did. The next morning, my father took me to a hidden chamber in the palace, a room etched with ancient markings. "This is where you'll learn," he said tensely. For weeks and years, he pushed me harder than I thought possible. He taught me how to sense the roar building inside, how to channel it, and most importantly, how to hold it back. At night, we will sit at the balcony, and he will tell me stories of his first transformation, and how he nearly lost himself to the power. "The roar doesn't just protect," he said in a low tone. "It tests you. It will demand more than you're willing to give. You must always remember who you are. You are a king. You owe your allegiance to our people. You are born to love and protect, not to harm." One evening, Babalumo came to the palace. He looked worried. In a tense and strained voice, he said,
"The balance in Janbali is shifting. The forest whispers of an old danger awakening. Kale's training must start and be completed fast."
"But he is only a boy," my father said sharply. "You and I know that the training takes years." Babalumo turned and stared hard at my father before he said in a deeply concerned voice,
"King Ezran, I am only but the mouthpiece of the gods. Where they send me is where I go. And what they ask me to say is what I say. All I can tell you is that the warning was very clear. The gods are holding it back for now. But soon it will be the turn of mortal men to decide the fate of our kingdom. Start his training now. The gods have chosen him, and we cannot question the gods."
Then he smiled and added before leaving,
"The ones coming will be of great help to him. They will not let him fail."
The relationship between my father and I changed that day. Many times, we will sit and talk for hours. That night, sitting together on the balcony, my father said lovingly, "Being the Lion of Janbali isn't just about power, it's about protection. Our people need more than strength, they need wisdom and love. You will face challenges I cannot imagine. But remember this, the roar is not what makes you a leader, it's your heart." As I lay in bed that night, I couldn't shake Babalumo's words. What danger was coming, and would I be ready when it arrived? My father's roar could make mountains tremble, but deep down, I wondered would mine ever be enough? And who are those that are coming? In what way will they help me? As I dozed off, I dreamt of the lion watching over me, speaking to my spirits and transferring deep knowledge from the gods.
Thank you for watching episode 1 of the Janbali Chronicles, The Roar of Legacy. We hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, share and subscribe to encourage us to bring more stories your way. Watch out for episode 2, The Triplets. 3 siblings, 3 distinct but double powers, and the Janbali fate.